People aren't disengaged. People are uncertain. They're working hard, but they don't always know how today's work connects to tomorrow's purpose. Think about
Ready to grow with resilience, clarity, and confidence in leadership, career, and faith? Welcome to The Next Move. I'm Orvin Kimbrough, CEO, author, and founder of The Thriver's Path. I went from foster care to the CEO seat, and here's what I learned. Transformation doesn't start with a title. It starts with your next move. How you reframe your thinking, reclaim your agency, and rename what's possible. If you're done circling and ready to step forward, you're in the right place. Let's make your next move your best move.
Welcome back to The Next Move, the podcast where we explore faith, leadership, and personal growth to help you take your next step with purpose and confidence. Folks, I'm your host, Orvin Kimbrough. I'm so grateful you are here. Today, we're talking about something every leader experiences. Every leader experiences, but few of us talk about openly the cost of connecting the dots for everyone. I'm thinking so much about this right now because I've said a number of times, guys, at times I have cognitive overload with so much that I have to carry. Have you ever ended a week exhausted? Well, not because the work was hard, but because you spent most of your energy explaining the work. Just this week, I had a moment where a team member in my broader ecosystem felt overwhelmed, not because the workload was too heavy, but not because of a lack of effort on their part or capability on their part. The overwhelm came from unclear framing, not seeing how the work connected to the mission. I'm really big on the work that each leader does each and every day has to connect to the broader mission. That broader mission is why, it's purpose. It is the accelerant. It's the thing that causes us to get up and go. So this unclear framing, they didn't see how their work connected. And it reminded me of something I learned many, many years ago. People don't get overwhelmed often by work. They don't get overwhelmed often by the work. People get overwhelmed by confusion. Scripture puts it plainly in Proverbs 4:7. With all thy getting, get understanding. Wisdom isn't just knowledge. Wisdom is orientation. It's orientation. Understanding is what turns motion into mission. I hope you caught that. Across business, leadership forums, and even sports commentary. I'm thinking about sports these days because, the big game is happening. Olympics are happening all in this season. There is a growing recognition that the leaders who are struggling aren't struggling with effort. They're struggling with clarity. At global leadership gatherings, leaders are naming the same thing. Many of us feel in our own organizations. People aren't disengaged. People are uncertain. They're working hard, but they don't always know how today's work connects to tomorrow's purpose. Think about everything that's happening in the world. Even in sports, commentators are talking about what they call leadership density. The idea that teams perform better when more people understand the whole picture, not just the person at the top. Not just the person at the top. When clarity is shared, teams don't freeze under pressure. When it isn't, everything flows back to one person. And that's the weight many leaders are carrying right now. When leaders skip the framing, when we fail to zoom out and connect the dots, we end up holding the mental load for the entire team. We think through the steps. We anticipate the question. We connect the dots. We build the structure, and then we hand it off. But here's the truth. If your team can't see the whole picture, they'll always return to you for the missing pieces. That's not a failure of your team. That's a signal about where leadership needs to deepen. Leadership is not just delegation. Leadership is translation. It's helping people understand how their work contributes to the mission. And I've learned this. Clarity is mercy. Clarity is stewardship. I've learned clarity is leadership. When you give people structure, you give them confidence. When you give them system, you give them momentum. When you help them connect dots, you help them, guess what? Grow. Some of you listening today, you feel overwhelmed because you're holding the picture for far too many people. Here's the reframe. Your team doesn't need you to carry more. They need you to share clarity. Your next move isn't to work harder. It's to slow down long enough to help others see. Here's the challenge this week. Slow down. Frame the work. Connect the dots. Build systems that protect momentum. Not so your team works harder, but so your team works connected. Not so they work harder, so they work connected. Because leadership isn't about doing more. It's not about doing more. It's about helping others rise, helping them rise to the level of clarity, they need to thrive. Before you move on with your day, I want you to sit with one question. Where am I carrying clarity that I haven't yet shared? Pay attention. Pay attention this week to where questions keep coming back to you. That's not interruption, that's information. And remember, clarity isn't control. Clarity is care. Keep rising, keep leading, and keep taking your next move.
Thanks for spending time with me on The Next Move. I hope today's reflection helped you see your situation differently and reminded you that you're not stuck, you're being strengthened. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who's standing at the edge of their next move. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's ahead. For deeper reflections, tools, and guided pathways for growth, visit orvinkimbrough.com and explore the Thriver's Path. Until next time, remember, every small step taken with intention moves you closer to the life and leadership you're becoming. Let's keep moving forward together.